Hey, this is Rodrigo here. Think of the following scenario. You have the concert of our band all planned with the sequence of all the songs, some kind of stage performance planned too. So you, as the guitar player, you don't want to be there in the corner of the stage, dealing with your quad cortex for changing presets and scenes. You'd like them to change automatically according to the song or according to each part of each song. Is it possible to do that? I have seen that question popping around a few times. Something like, can we use Reaper for controlling the quad cortex? Can we use Reaper for changing presets and scenes on the quad cortex? Yeah, it's possible. You can use MIDI. I never had to do that myself, but I thought it'd be fun to take a look into that. So follow me. So here I have the quad cortex connected to my computer through the USB port. And if you want to use it like that too, and you are using a Windows computer, you have to install the Quad Cortex ASIO driver that can be downloaded from NeuroDSP website. You can also connect it to the audio interface using the MIDI port, and no driver will be necessary in this case. Okay, since you are dealing with MIDI, I think it's cool to talk about it a little bit. But without getting too deep, or at least not too technical, so the video doesn't get too boring. And if you know about that already, you can just skip to the next sections of the video. Let's go then. MIDI stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface, and it was born in the 80s as a protocol or a standard, so the synthesizers and electronic instruments of the time could communicate with each other. But over time, new equipment emerged, the protocol itself was expanded, and today its use is huge. MIDI works as messages that are sent to instruments, real or virtual instruments, plugins and devices that will process those messages and produce some kind of sound or perform some kind of action. And that's how it's going to work here. Our DAW, which is Reaper, will send MIDI messages to the Quad Cortex, telling it which presets or scenes it should load at that specific moment. So, in order to send these messages, the first thing we have to know is where they will be sent. The destination address here is called channel. There are 16 MIDI channels available. And by default, the Quad Cortex is configured to receive on channel 1, but we can change this configuration at any time. Next, we need to know what we are going to send. Within the MIDI protocol, there are several types of messages, and each device is programmed to receive and process a specific set of them. The Quad Cortex and most of the guitar gear most of the times we will use only two types of messages. The program change messages, or PC, and the control change messages, CC. In the Quad Cortex docs, we have the complete list of messages that the Quad Cortex is programmed to receive and process, so that we know what we need to be sent for it to perform each action. Let's go back to the messages. The PC messages are basically used to change presets, and the only information they will carry is the number of the preset that we want to load. Let's take a look here. In the Quad Cortex, we have the set lists. There's the factory set list, which is number 0, and we can create another 12 set lists. For each set list, we have 32 banks of presets, and inside each bank, we have 8 presets. That gives us 256 presets per set list. Plus, we have also 8 scenes for each preset. So, in addition to knowing the number of the preset we want to load, we also need to know the set list where the preset is in. And here comes a problem. We have 256 presets in each set list. However, MIDI messages can only accept the values from 0 to 127. The solution for this is to divide the preset banks into groups so that we have 128 presets in each group. In other words, to load a specific preset in the Quad Cortex, we will need these three pieces of information: the set list, the preset group, and the number of the preset within that group. In the end, we will have to send three different messages, one for each of these pieces of information. And this is where the second type of message comes in, the control change messages, the CC messages. They are used to control different types of functions and parameters. And for doing this, they will carry two pieces of information, one to identify what it will be controlling, and another one to inform the new value. So things will be like this. We're going to send a CC message with number 32, which means we are referring to the set list, and the number of the set list we want to select. Then we are going to send another CC message with number 0, which means we are referring to the group of presets and the number of the group we want to select. And then we are going to send a PC message with the number of the preset within that group. That's great, but dealing with all this information is not really intuitive, right? So there are two little tools for helping us out. And if you are using the Cortex control, whenever you are inside a preset in the Cortex control, you can use this shortcut here. Control-Shift-M on Windows or Command-Shift-M on Mac, and the Cortex control will display the MIDI information for that preset. And you can also use this little calculator provided by NeuroDSP. I'll just leave the link for it in the description. And of course, there are the scenes. The message for loading a scene is also of the CC type, but it's going to use number 43 to mean that we are referring to selecting scenes, and the number of the scene we want to load. So finally we are inside Reaper. And the first thing we have to do is to enable the Quad Cortex as one of the MIDI outputs here. So let's go to Preferences, Options Preferences. Let's find MIDI Outputs, and we can find the Quad Cortex MIDI out here. In this column called Enable, let's just click here, and it's done. So now let's just create a new track. I will call it MIDI and set the routing. The hardware output here will be the Quad Cortex MIDI out, the same one we have just enabled. Now let's just select some area here for creating a new MIDI item, and let's go to the MIDI editor. Right here we have the notes, which are also MIDI messages, but we're not dealing with them right now. We want these ones down here, which are the CC and PC messages. Let's just create 4 new lanes, since we are going to send 4 messages. And let's just choose the message type here for each lane in this select list here. For the first one, let's just pick CC32, which is for the set lists. The next one, let's pick the CC0, which is for the group of presets. Then we can get the PC message. In here it's called program. It's for the preset. And the last one is for the scenes. Let's get the CC43. Nice. So now we have to set the values for each of the messages. And for doing this, we are going to use this area here on the right side of the screen. You can just shift click at the point here. It will create this little node. You see it's possible to click and drag it around, and the values over there, it keeps changing. That's the value that will be carried by the message. But it's probably easier to right click the nodes and set the values manually here. It's probably a bit more precise than dragging that little guy around. I'll set the value 0 for the set list. Now I'll just set the value here for the group of messages, the group of presets, sorry. I'll set the value 0 again. So I'll choose the first group of messages from 1 to 16. And now here is the value of the preset inside that group of messages. It ranges from 0 to 127. I'll set value 10. Okay. I think it's worth mentioning that we don't really have to send these 3 messages every time we want to select a new preset. If you want to pick a preset which is inside the same set list and same group of messages which we have already selected, we can just send a new message. Let's repeat the same procedure here. I'll create a new node. And let's just set the value for this new message. And I will be adding another node here, so we can choose 3 different presets here. Okay, now as I hit play, we will see the presets changing on the Quad Cortex every time Reaper goes through the messages. That's cool, right? And now it's the same thing for the scenes. We just once we are inside the preset, we can select the scenes from it. Let's just create the messages using the same procedures as we did before. Just add a node. Let's just set the value. I'll choose value 0 here. I'm going to add another two nodes here for 2 extra messages. Let's just set value 3. And value 7. Let's just remember the values for the scenes go from 0 to 7. Okay, so as I hit play, the Reaper will send the messages and the scenes on the Quad Cortex will change as Reaper goes through the messages. That's cool. Well, what about the crazy idea I mentioned at the beginning of the video? I think this is a bit of a draft of how I would do it. I would create a track with all the songs. I would create these markers here to identify where we need to change presets and scenes and everything. It would make it easier to look at the project here and also make it easier for when editing the MIDI content inside the MIDI editor, so we can see exactly where we need to send our messages. I'll probably keep that track where the songs are, I would keep it muted and would probably make Reaper just send the metronome for the drummer, something like that. And since we are using MIDI, we could send messages for controlling, lights on stage, video, and many other things. Why not? Our possibilities here are huge, right? So, have you already used something like this, or would you use something like this in your concerts? If you want to talk about it, just leave a comment. And I think this is it for this video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.